Yeah. And speaking of OPs, we got a few minutes left. If anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and ask in chat. We'll be wrapping up here soon. But before that, a little bit of an update on OP3. Has anyone been practicing?
I'm due to get a practice in tomorrow.
Theory crafting mainly.
Mm-hmm. All right, Tucker. You said because you said the attack wing scene isn't quite as active near you now, is it?
Well, what happened was right when I got out there, they're like, "Yeah, we have to reschedule," and there's been no signs of rescheduling.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I don't think they've started the collective series yet.
That could be cool. It could be an all-day event. All 3 right in a row. But yeah, no,
well,
I got
when I moved, I had to give up my chance at Assimilation Target Prime, but I could now go for another one.
That's always fun. Assimilation Target Prime is always a neat thing to brag about a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a couple practice sessions in over the weekend, and it pains my soul just a little bit, but I mean, really, I'm not seeing any other option between the Wayun Barrel or the Sopek Barrel. Big, giant cube just to destroy everything. Although, to add on to that, this is also a scenario where there is the opportunity to really mess with your opponent. And from my couple practice games, I've learned that really messing with your opponent is a bad idea. You can probably manage to take down the cube, but that sphere runs really, really fast.
Yeah.
And it's not pleasant if it gets away, especially if somehow your opponent scored the last hit on the cube and then dies, then you're stuck with the sphere, and if you don't catch that sphere, then you're pretty much screwed.
You're correct.
Yeah.
And it's also a very dicey scenario, you know, getting up to 8 and 10 defense dice. I would be rolling defense dice, and my opponent would shoot transphasics at it for 9 hits, and the Borg cube rolled 8 evades out of 10.
Oh, no.
And then I come in with my little pea shooter Maquis blind ship that I got. I get 3 hits, and the Borg cube only gets 2 evades.
I'm sure that made your opponent feel wonderful.
Oh yeah. Or even worse, if you can really mess with your opponent, especially if you're both running like Wayun Varel and Croesus, just to try to stop someone else's Wayun Varel and Croesus. There's the distinct possibility that you can get your opponent killed and then not succeed in taking out the cube. This happened to one of my opponents before, and when we went over the scoring, even though he found out that even though I got killed first, since nobody destroyed the cube, we ended up with equal points, and we ended up had to roll off for the victory. And
That's awesome.
No one likes the dicing off for the victory battle stations.
Yeah. Well, and this raises a question that I was actually curious about. If you score fewer than 30 fleet points, and your opponent does the same, it doesn't matter would it matter if one of you still had more ships alive if the game goes to time? Or not more ships, but more ship points left?
No, because they get subtracted out, because you can't have less than 0, right?
You'd go like 24, I'm thinking like 24 versus 22, and you both go to 0. So you're tied. And that's messy.
Can you have negative fleet points? You might be able to have negative fleet points in this one.
I think you'd have to be able to.
I seem to remember in the instructions it mentioning that you can have negative fleet points, but I might be wrong about that.
Okay. Yeah.
I know you can't have negative squadron points, but since it is a punishment for failing the scenario so hard, I think it'll be. I think most people will agree that it could very well apply here, and it might actually apply more often than we want to believe.
Now, Will, did you find your games going to time or going to destruction?
Or
going to the sphere escaping?
It actually went a little bit of each way. So the
Okay.
first one, it went to the sphere escaping. The second time, it went to time. And the third time, it went to destruction. But the third time, I was still running my infinite defense combo, and he just... I was trying to convince my opponent not to disable my Varel, and he did it anyway, and we both lost.
That's fantastic.
But we both completely died, so we both ended up with 90 fleet points at least.
Oh, hey.
That's something.
But really, you definitely, even if you have to make it deal with your opponent, you definitely want to find a way to destroy that darn sphere. Because in the larger scale tournament, and this is with like more than 6 people or so, like 7 to 10, or 16 if your guys go up that far. But like you're really going to need a lot of tiebreakers in this event, I feel.
Yeah, I have found in general, so since we're on OP3 at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and say a lot of these events are very good in theory, but once you really sit down and play through them a few times, there's some pretty serious warts.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I tried this scenario with a super loaded down Voyager with transphasics, and that didn't go well. The maneuverability was just horrible, and I managed to destroy the cube. No, we managed to destroy the cube. He did. And then the sphere just managed to get away from me because it took me forever and a day to turn around with my Voyager. And that was harsh.
So the problem with a Voyager then becomes that if you go the super offense, super defense route, you have no maneuverability, and you can't do anything.
Because even that range 2 360 arc didn't help me because that darn sphere just goes so fast.
Right.
Like
well,
really,
I faced the wrong way with Voyager. Forget it.
And again, I mean, just the maneuverability of the Borg sphere and cube. Not to mention that this Borg cube, the tactical cube, doesn't take damage if the Borg cube token runs into it. Like I feel like that so heavily favors the Borg cube, the like giant Borg cube shenanigans, that's the only competitive thing I'm going to see.
Yeah.
Going to be a little different for me since I'm still in a fleet pure or a ship pure environment.
Hey, Dave, you want me to tell you how to get Wayne Barrel on a ship pure?
Oh, I know. I've got an idea for it. Flagship, independent flagship, Croesus. Have fun.
Croesus.
Yeah,
actually,
Croesus is becoming a very good friend.
See, I knew people would see the light of Croesus. I like him a lot, especially since he can disable... Like, I'm taking cost anyway, but if someone else is taking Croesus against me, you can disable cost and then take one of my upgrades.
Yeah. I just wish that Hugh had been more like Croesus, just for the simple fact that I can make the joke, have you met my friend Hugh? And somebody goes, who? No, Hugh.
Hugh.
You know, I'm going to tell you something. The thing I like, I'm worried about Croesus in this game because it seems like a lot of OP3s are going to be decided by who Croesus is who's Croesus first. I fear the same may happen in the regionals.
If people even know about him.
The other funny thing, come on, dude, we're on a podcast.
All right. What, you mean I'm revealing all my secrets on the air to everybody because I want them to win?
The other funny thing about Croesus, by the way, is that there's a magic card called Croesus. Croesus the Purger.
Okay.
I don't know. Does
he do something fun?
He's a gigantic dragon that does ridiculous things in the context of that game. But you can just call him Croesus the Purger.
He will purge you. He will purge you. Who, Hugh? No, you.
Ha!
Uh,
That'll be fun. But yeah, that was my update for OP3 after some of my practice experiences. Either run the giant cube or be well prepared for the giant cube for your opponent.
yeah.
Or both.
Or both. That's what I'm probably doing. Then I can run a simulation target prime in my next venue. Oh wait. In theory, we hope. That's cool.
Oh,
Oh, by the way, I just did a quick build because I was curious. Turns out that a simulation target prime, a sphere, and 2 assimilation tubules does fit under 90 points with relevant captains.
Ooh. I like assimilating all the things.
I know you're a big fan of the 2 assimilators build.
But yeah. So
and why wouldn't you be?
I like to I mean, I've assimilated both of you already, right? I mean, you're both Borg things and I'm a Borg thing.
We are the Borg.
Do we need to change the name of the show to State of the Borg? State of the Collective?
I still like to think that the Federation is relevant.
Yeah, no. Well, no, they are. Super Voyager is extremely playable now, especially in a Borg heavy meta.
And you know what? I think that's a discussion that warrants a future episode.
I agree.
I agree.
So yeah. So I think that's going to do it for tonight. We are at our time. I hope you have enjoyed this this look at a couple missions and a little update on OP3. Anything you guys want to say to close out, David?
Wish me luck on Saturday.
Oh, yep, you have one this week. Mine's on Wednesday. Tucker, how about you?
Guys, if you know a venue in Santa Fe, New Mexico, for the love of God, tell me.
Oh no, you've been relegated to the middle of nowhere. Poor guy.
It's okay. I can still play casually.
Indeed.
Which is a perfect tie-in to what we were talking about today with missions.
Yeah, and honestly, I've been having more fun doing that lately.
It's a lot less stressful.
Well, yeah, going for OP prize ships, spoiler alert, turns me into a gigantic asshole.
The competitive nature of things. What?
Yeah, I'm lucky that I'm a TO, so I don't really have to compete, but I enjoy competing when I can.
Oh, by the way, in Attack Wing news, we have confirmation of, I don't know if you guys saw this, we have confirmation of waves 13 and 14.
I did see that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. The only really notable thing is that, well, for Oberth class fans, we got the Pegasus, which may mean Federation Advanced Cloaking or something, but Gorn Starship. So that means we may see even more OP prize ships in the future, because now we have a number of them that have been released.
Yeah. Well, the question's going to become then, is it the same exact pack?
Which I highly doubt.
Well, they're not calling it the Scorn. They're calling it the Gorn Starship.
Right.
So it may well be that the answer is no, but one can hope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a fan of the Scorn and the generic version of it. It's a nice ship for what it is.
I've just in this battleship heavy meta, I'm just not a fan of 20-point ships anymore.
Oh no.
All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up. We got a little bit of news. We got a little bit of everything. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Keep an eye out for us on YouTube, of course, youtube.com/DeltaAngelFire. Oh, no. Yeah, Delta Angel Fire. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/State of the Federation. And as always, you can see us right here on Twitch or right here on wherever you're already listening to this from. But
yes, if you have found us, you have found us.
Indeed.
We'll be here.
I'll give a little shout out to the guys that run the Star Trek Attack Wing page on Facebook. They have a show on Thursday nights as well. It's called Trek Talking. They talk me up a little bit and give me a big head, so I gotta at least, you know, throw a little action their way. They're a little more casual and talk about some more of the regular Star Trek stuff. But they're neat guys. But yeah, so thank you all for joining us once again. I've been Delta Angelfire and my co-hosts Tucker and David. And we will see you again next week. Until then, may Q be generous with your dice.